Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Brian W. Adams.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today's Inspire podcast. I am super excited. There's all these opportunities we have to introduce you to partners here at Integrity, but this one is somebody I've known for a long time. Actually, even back when I was working out of my house. And so I'm so excited to now have South Atlantic Management join the Integrity family. And I'm joined here today by their president, Jason Thomason, who founded South Atlantic Management and has been in the business for generations with his family. So I'm so excited about this opportunity, man. We go so far back.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember the first time I met you, I actually met your granddad first.
That's right.
So you're based out of South Carolina.
Upstate.
And we were at a training in Columbia,
Yep.
South Carolina, and I met your granddad.
Yep.
And they said, hold on, you got to meet my grandson who's getting in the business. You were just kind of started getting in the business.
I think at that
a year
time,
or so
I'm
before
about
that?
3 or 4 months.
Oh, it's been that.
I've only been
man.
at 3 or 4 months at that time.
Man, I remember that just as clear as yesterday. Now,
Yep.
we were doing some things with Shep Cutler, one of
Yep.
the, just an icon in the business. And a lot of the people who've been around the business for a long time would know Shep's name. And we were doing a training with Shep in Columbia. And your granddad went way back with Shep. So when I say this is a generational business,
Third generation.
your dad was in the business, your granddad, and now you're carrying that on. So tell us about how your granddad first started getting into the business.
So Shep and my granddad worked together for 50-something years before they both passed away. And my grandfather lived in Anderson, where our office is now. Been in Anderson all of our life. And he said he kept seeing this guy drive down the road. He just looked out of place, is the way he always said it. And Shep and his brother.
Shep, if you knew Shep,
Yeah.
he always looked out of place because
Yeah.
he had the most audacious clothing, he was eccentric is probably the right word, but he could pull it off.
Always. That's right. And basically, he pulled him over at a red light and just asked if you knew my grandpa, whatever come to his mind, he would say it. He said, "Who are you?" And Shep introduced himself, and they were staying at the little Anderson Motel. And so my grandfather followed him around a little more, and then 2 or 3 days later, and what happened back then, Shep used to say his dad made him and his brother leave out on Sunday and go write insurance, and they couldn't come home until they made X amount of sales. And my grandfather liked it and liked the way Shep and his brother worked, and my grandfather always been a hard worker anyway. And so they just kind of hit it off ever since, and then just kept on going for 50-something years.
How did your granddad, do you know how your granddad got into the business?
I think it was somebody they went to church with kind of recruited him.
Yeah.
And he was actually a police officer for a while, believe it or not.
Wow.
And so, he was a police officer for a short time, and then he did some kind of other sale. He served papers. He was actually the first one in South Carolina to actually serve papers.
No kidding.
He did it on the weekends, and then he
My
did it
gosh.
Monday through Thursday and Friday, and then made a business out of it.
You know, there were these icons in the business that just were larger than life back, especially kind of in these regional areas. And your granddad certainly was one of those.
One of the first ones. Yeah.
Shep certainly was as well. But man, it's amazing to think back about some of those old stories and hearing them tell the stories about how they got into the business,
amazing.
man. Those were different days, man. I remember just going to South Carolina so many times as part of that and working with you guys and watching you continue to accelerate in your career. And man, it's been humbling to watch you, man. I mean,
I tell you, it's been fun.
You've built such a great business. You focus primarily on the Medicare and life insurance business, and you just have built an amazing business. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you guys have been building in South Atlantic Management?
In 2009, we started with kind of the same reason we all started. We just wanted to help more people.
Was that in 09?
It was 09. I started South Atlantic in 09. I got my license in 06.
Okay, yeah, so we met in 06.
Yep, 06.
I stopped working out of my house in 09.
That's when I started South Atlantic. Yep. That was May of 09.
Wow.
And we just we just wanted to help more people. And we've always been very good at building relationships with agents, and most importantly, our clients. Yeah. And then the funny thing about it now is we are still servicing clients that my grandfather wrote. Wow. And they're in their mid-90s. So relationships go all the way back to 80s and late 70s, early 80s, early 90s, late 90s, and all the way through till 2014.
Wow. And then your dad got into the business, so he was another amazing leader in the industry, and he passed away way too young as well. And then you've continued just to carry on that family legacy, which has
Keep
been,
on growing.
I think, inspiring. I mean, the name of our podcast is Inspire for so many reasons, but I think that strong family-centered kind of nature of what you've had is something that we're so passionate about. You know, not only about providing for our families, but serving American families and talking about how you even serve your dad and your granddad's clients over the years. I mean, that is pretty humbling to be able to do that.
You know, it's funny to think back to my son is now 9 years old. And I was 9 years old when I used to ride with my grandfather in the summertime.
Would you go into like appointments?
Go into the houses and sit down. He could always sit at the table and sit with a client for less than 5 minutes and tell you if they're going to buy a policy or not, or if he can help them or not. And I was my son's age now, 9 years old then.
And so you would sit there in the home. Now, can you imagine your son? So your son's name is Jax, right?
Jax, yep, J-A-X.
Could you imagine Jax sitting in an appointment right now?
He'd go crazy.
I've got an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old.
I mean, he would go crazy.
If you don't have an iPad,
that's exactly right. Let me borrow that phone.
Oh my God! Can I see your phone?
Can I see your phone? Yep.
Oh man!
But from doing that over the years and just seeing the impact that they've made in the community by helping clients, even to the point where we deliver life insurance checks when people pass away. I had a good friend of mine talking about passing away too early. His mother died, and his dad died a couple years ago. He got bit by fire ants and had a heart attack. But she didn't even know that he took a life insurance policy out on her. So when Michael, which was my buddy, when Z and his mom died, my dad got a call from one of the life insurance company, and he actually took Michael a check for $100,000.
Wow.
And they just all broke down because they didn't know that she even had life insurance. So even going back to when I was in high school, just seeing the impact that we've made over the years by helping people and doing what we do matters.
Man, that's the amazing thing is you think about the impact that your family's had, especially in that region of the country. And now you're still getting to see kind of the benefits. I mean,
30 years later.
I think I heard this quote where it said that legacy is like planting a tree that you'll never sit under the shade, right?
That's good.
And if you think about the legacy, the tree that your granddad planted and your dad planted, and now you're sitting under the shade. I know for me, I think about my granddad was my favorite person in the world, right? And I don't know why granddads and grandparents in particular just have such an amazing impact, right? And there's so many different moments in my life that I think about. I was fishing with my boys the other day. It was one of those things, I got home after work, there's a little pond by our house, and they'd gone to a camp and they wanted to go fishing. It was like 7 o'clock at night, and I was tired and hadn't eaten dinner yet. And they said, can we please go fishing? And you don't want to waste those opportunities, man, because listen, they're not going to ask forever.
No, you only get one shot.
Right, and so I said, yeah, let's go. So I went and I was looking for some fishing poles, and I found one of my granddad's fishing poles. And I took it out, and I was like, Mike, I wish he was here, seeing them fish with his fishing pole. And then I was tying a knot on a hook, and my 8-year-old said, how do you know how to do that?
Grandpa taught you how to do it.
It's because Papa told me how to do this. Yep. And man, you think about the moments in your life that you go, man, I wish he was here to see this. God. I know. And I know you
think about it all the time.
Man, and he would be so proud of you.
Oh yeah, he loved the insurance business.
Yeah.
And he actually begged me to get in before when I graduated high school. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then several years later, I did.
Well, and your dad would feel the same way. Your dad passed away way too soon as well. And that's where you kind of look back and you go, man, you got these moments. Our partner meeting recently, I invited my mom and dad. And part of that was they've never really seen what we're doing. They hear us talk about some of it, but it was one of those things I wanted them to kind of see. One, look, I don't know how much longer you have with them.
Sure.
Two, look, I want them to see some of what the hard work has been about, and also had my kids come because In the old days, you could go ride with your granddad.
Yep.
Today, it's
Oh, yeah,
a
it's a
different
lot.
world, right? I mean, first of all, my kids wouldn't want to come up here. They'd be bored to death.
That's exactly right.
But you want to try to tie them in so that they can go, man, this is something that really matters. And one of the things I love about what you've done, and your granddad was a great example of this, and Shep was too, of having this passion for the business and telling everybody about it.
That's it, helping people.
And you've done such an incredible job. It's so much fun to watch inspirational leaders like you that have come in and said, listen, I want to help other people get into the business. And so you've helped so many other young people get into the business that are dynamic leaders that are continuing to serve this market. What do you love most about getting new people into the business?
I love just seeing them go from where they currently are to just grow, whether they're growing in their business, growing their family, but be able to add value to helping people, helping more people. Yeah. The best story is my sister and my brother-in-law. They both work 9-to-5 jobs, and he got in the insurance business and within the first 2 years, top producer. Then he brought my sister home. She stayed at home, started working with him, and now they got a family business in the insurance.
Wow.
And it just amazes me how bringing people in, the opportunity that we have in this business by helping not only families and other families and our families, but helping our clients and their families.
Speaking of family, so you were talking about Jax.
Yep.
You know, your wife's so blessed so many ways, but I heard he's into baseball now, right?
Loves baseball.
Yeah. Tell us about that. I heard you had to bribe him a little bit recently.
You know, we were talking about shoes earlier. And last year, bless his heart, he just could not hit a ball to save his life. He was striking out. And I finally called him over to the fence and said, son, listen, if you hit that ball, just make contact one time. Yeah. I'll buy you a pair of shoes. First pitch come, he got a triple. So now it gave him the confidence that he needed. And this past season, we just finished up, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. He was probably one of the best hitters on the team. Wow. Only struck out one time the whole season.
No kidding.
So that just incentivized him a little bit. You know, every now and then we got to do it, but it worked out well.
So I don't know have you ever met Scott Riddle?
I don't think I have.
Scott Riddle is one of the most amazing leaders, similar era as your granddad and Shep. One of the amazing leaders in the business, one of our great partners. And his uncle is in the Hall of Fame, a guy named Tris Speaker, played for what's now the Boston Red Sox. It was before they were even, I think they were called the Boston Americans back then. And then Scott is just, his family's crazy about baseball. And one day, you know, we always talk about baseball. My son used to play baseball. I think we burned them out, man. Baseball is a hard sport.
It is.
And we took a fall off one time, and my son was like, I'm never going back. It's one of those things. It's you know, when you're practicing 3 times a week and then you got 2 double headers on the weekends, man, it is a lot to ask of kids. But we were talking about that, and I was talking to Scott about it. And then one day I go to this tournament. It's about an hour from our house, and I show up and Scott Riddle's there. And I'm like, Scott, what are you doing? And his great-grandson was playing against my son's team. And so we got to sit there and like just reminisce. It was just a highlight for me. But one of the kids is in the batter box, and they were 8 at the time. He's in the batter box, and this kid gets hit by a crazy pitch. What year do they start kid pitch?
10 years.
Okay, so maybe it's 10. So kid get hit by a pitch, and all the kids on the other team yells, $20! And that kid dropped the bat and ran to first base, and he was like the happiest kid in the world. And I was like, what is going on? And so Scott goes, well, I made a deal with them. He said, when kids are in the batter's box, they've got to have more confidence to stay in there, especially as the pitches are coming through. And he said, I made a deal with them. If anybody would stand there and take a hit, they get $20. And sure enough, after the game, that little kid walked over. This wasn't even his great-grandson. This kid walks over and is like, where's my $20? So Scott pulls out the $20. Exactly right. But, you know, look, I think we all need incentivized, right? I mean, it's like a human nature.
It's life.
That you go, what do I get if I can do this? What do you do? Is there anything you personally do to say, like, if I can do this, I'm going to reward myself with that?
I just always try to set higher goals, and I try to be better every day. Just something, somewhere, somehow. There's something I always try to do, but set certain goals so I can reward myself with it.
Yeah, I think you've got to, man. I do it even in little stuff. I mean, I've never really told people this, but Like if I have to do something I really don't want to do,
Yep.
I time myself to see how fast I can do it. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
be done.
I bet you I can do that
Yep.
in 5 minutes. Just different things where you're like, man, I got to go spray the yard for mosquitoes. I bet I can do that in 3 minutes. Let's see how fast it is.
Be done.
Just because there's something about, especially at our level today, it's hard. You set goals, but sometimes, man, it takes a long time for you to realize them. And so it's really one of those things for us to sit back and go, for me, it's important to like see something come to fruition where,
Yep.
hey, mowing grass. Like most people don't want to mow grass anymore. But man, Mike White told me this one day. He's like, if you ever mow grass and you can look back and go, man, I just did that. Because it's immediate gratification. Like,
Yep.
I just did it. And there's something about that. And that's why, look, I think that this is such a big next step for you and your family to be able to now partner with us here at Integrity. And I'm so excited about seeing just the family nature that you've created and just the great business that you've created. And now being able to have us be able to partner together for us to be able to give you more support, more products, more resources, more technology.
Absolutely.
I mean, the game's changing. It's amazing how fast the game is changing, especially around technology and investing ahead of that. What would you say you're most excited about with partnering with Integrity?
Just being able to add more value to our agents, add more value to our clients, and be able to provide the technology, the support, the training. And for us, what we're doing now, I mean, what the next couple of years hold for us is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what this next year holds.
Yeah.
We're growing even within the last couple of months just by the conversations and the work that we've already put in to get where we're at today. It's just amazing to me how agents are able to grow their business more, have more tools, and be able to help not only current clients, but to build more within the community, have the right tools and resources that we need to be able to grow.
Man, I couldn't agree more with you. Look, I say this a lot, that we're just getting started.
I believe it.
And I believe it. I think that we're just getting started on being able to offer more technology, more resources, getting more people, young people into the business and want to serve more people, being able to expand into different products and services with life, health, and wealth, and be able to really just think outside the box in so many different ways. And so with people like you partnering with Integrity and being able to, we've been working together for a long time. Dude, almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years, that's right. I was thinking about that on the way here today. Almost 20 years.
How is that possible?
I don't know. That's possible. Well, I am getting a lot of gray, so I started to see a lot
You still
more.
got your hair. Your hair looks great still. I'm losing mine, but man, 20 years.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's
And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens in the next 20 years, because I think the last 20 years have been a lot of fun.
Yep.
I think the next 20 years are going to really, that's when we really make our impact.
Absolutely. The best is yet to come, for sure.
And I'm proud to be doing it with you, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being our partner.
Yes, sir.
Hope everybody's as excited as I am to have Jason join the Integrity family. Jason and his family have just been such icons in the entire insurance industry for so many generations. Yep. And it's a special day for me personally. I know for Todd Fincher, for a lot of our partners, to have you now as the newest Integrity partner. So thank you again for trusting us. We're humbled by this, and we can't wait to see what we can accomplish together. Hope everybody has a great week. God bless you all, and have an amazing time this week. Take care. See you.